Tour, winning on the Challenge Tour and just a match away from winning on the Pro Tour. He's made a fine start to life at the PDC Players Championships, and so has the man alongside me. I'm Chris Murphy, Dan McCarthy making his debut. Have you enjoyed it, and was this the outcome you were expecting?
Absolutely loved it. It's a very good introduction. You promised me that when we were just talking off air, so you've passed that test. Not the final that I would have been expecting, 100. And by every kind of metric, really, it's a real David versus Goliath clash if you look at past experience, titles won. But Gian van Veen has absolutely no reason to fear Gerwyn Price. He's played some brilliant stuff today, some heavy scoring, particularly in that last match against Dave Chisnell, and a wonderful 118 out to win that game by 7 legs to 3. But Gerwyn Price has thrown some impressive stuff himself today.
Still just 20 years of age, Van Veen has now played in finals on the Development Tour, Challenge Tour and Pro Tour in the space of just 3 months.
100.
Remarkable, really. But it just goes to show what success on those second-tier tours can do, because it's only by virtue of his success on the Challenge Tour in particular that he's been able to play in these Players' Championship events, filling in for absentees.
Yeah, it's kind of been a running theme this season as Van Veen looks for the 160 and it dips just below and sarcastically shapes his arm as he goes to collect the darts. Tops for Gerwyn Price. 65. Just over, and I was certain that was going to nestle into the bed of the double top.
And I would not have wanted to be on the end of that right hook either. Double 5 would land the first blow, but that is awkward. He thought it was in. He stepped forward. He knows now that the way his dart dangles down, this would be a dart and a half.
That is more than a dart and a half. That's 2-3 darts all in one.
Should be worth 2 legs, shouldn't it, that?
How did he find the gap?
140.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Look at that. Incredible. Yeah, his darts do lay, I mean, from the camera angles that we have a standard on a darts board, it looks like they lie flat, but when you actually see it from eye level, they do tilt towards the floor, and it was covering a good portion of that double.
And they do cock a little bit to the right-hand side sometimes as well, so it's very unorthodox, but I've been saying to both Dan and Paul in comms, watching Gian van Veen, he's made it work for himself. The way that he kind of rolls the dart in his hands as he's about to release it, it's completely, it's a strange technique, but he's mastered it.
He did have a little issue with his release not so long ago. I'm talking months ago. No problems from Price. But maybe just that little twist might be the thing that stopped that stalling in his throw. Players find a way, and he seems to have found one that has not only corrected an issue, but improved his game to an extraordinary level. Double 12.
Game shot.
Well, he gets double 6, and it is all square. And Price is letting Van Veen know that he's up for this, isn't he? No doubt about that.
Yeah, it's been relatively slim pickings for Gerwyn Price in Players' Championships this year. I mean, there is the obvious caveat that he chooses not to play in all of them because he's got a massively busy schedule as it is. But just the one title to his name this year, that was back in March in Niederhausen, where he defeated Madas Razma in the final. Beyond that, not really been too much to shout about. Saving his best stuff for the telly, that's what the best players tend to do, but he's thrown some magnificent darts today.
140.
Yeah, the 4-9 darters on TV this calendar year, quite remarkable. Nobody had ever managed more than 2 before that.
180.
3 in a bed for Van Veen to leave himself in a good position. Has been hitting plenty of maximums today, 98. The young Dutchman.
Another one of those.
92.
Well, he decided to go the different route instead. I think that dart that landed in the treble bed was a little bit precariously.
Yeah, I do get it, but he might have done himself out of a double would have left himself a double with 3 in hand, but he backed himself with 2, and he takes leg 3.
Those points that he used are almost as long as the barrel he holds the dart with. But Gian van Veen, if he does go on and win this, and, well, even if he doesn't win, he can take so much confidence going into tomorrow. And then
100.
The Euro Q School for him in January. And on form like this, you wouldn't back against him getting a card.
Well, we were looking at some things before this match that I hope he's not aware of, because it may serve as a distraction more on his mind. But if he wins this match, he's going to be at the Players' Championship finals.
180.
He's going to be in contention for the World Championship.
Yeah, it's a remarkable story as Gerwyn Price searches for his first 180. And he gets it to leave 61 after 9. But talk about taking your opportunities when they're presented to you. Gian van Veen taking advantage of those absentees. Price, well, he's wanted treble 7. 13 left. Double 4 the target.
53.
And there's an outside break chance, and this would be gigantic if Van Veen can take this out. He's not going to, though, on this occasion.
Price returns.
137.
Under pressure.
Game shot.
But he pins. He's dealt with plenty of pressure in his time. This will feel like nothing. 2-2, though. And certainly, Gian van Veen is giving Price a game. We can see
123.
That last leg saw him incidentally hit his 25th maximum of the day. Price responded with his 20th.
100.
Perfect dart for him. Perfect darts for him.
125.
There's a standard, and there you see, certainly capable of living with Gerwyn Price, and this is just an indication of the strength and depth in this sport, isn't it? Because, as we've been saying, he's not even a player who holds a tour card. He should be a good draw for somebody. Well, he's beaten everybody that's been put in front of him today.
Well, prior to this final, he's hit ton plus averages in 4 of his 6 matches, and the other 2 were 94s. So it's not as if he's dropped off massively. And the 113 to win the 5th leg. Down for treble 19. Went for the 14s. Bit of a sloppy one, but still in a good position in this leg. Unless Gerwyn Price can hit something massive here.
105.
Should be getting at least 1 dart at the outer ring. It's all he's getting. Double 16 to hit the front again.
30.
Now there's an opportunity.
Well, clearly a fan of double 6 the way that he went there, but Gerwyn Price now wants double 11, the other side of the board.
Game shot.
Well, you can hear his reaction. He knows what that means. It's a break of throw. Gerwyn Price has the advantage against Gian van Veen.
It's a longer race, of course, the final, first to 8 legs.
121.
And Veen by no means out of it, but that's the first blow he's got to deal with. The positive is he won the bullseye at the start of it, so it is just the 1 break back
100
that he will need.
$120.
They're almost too good.
Sounded like a doorbell, that, the way that the dart just clanged into one another.
Yeah, it was off the point, wasn't it, of one of the darts already in the bed.
I'll tell you something, Jan's darts make a big racket as well when they hit the board. It's like he's throwing bricks. Gerwyn Price doing a bit of juggling, unsuccessfully.
Yeah, not a throw before anybody starts questioning that.
And how about that for a reset?
Brilliant. Needs to find a treble to leave any kind of finish. He's done that.
97.
Well, I was expecting him to go treble 19 then, to go tops.
59.
Yeah, so was I.
A little bit of a letdown because it's a champagne-style finish, and he does love tops as well. When he lives to regret it, he might do. 164.
139.
Can't hit the target.
Champagne on ice for Price, but he needs to rescue this, and he hasn't. And Van Veen has the chance to break back immediately here.
Yeah, and he shouldn't have been presented with this chance either. Wry smile on Price's face as Van Veen gets the dart set in his hand. Doing his best Rob Cross impression, stepping back.
9.
And he can't pin double 8, and Gerwyn Price has the opportunity to have a cushion now.
Game shot.
Right in the heart of the tops bed. And Gian Van Veen has to mount something of a comeback now.
Yeah, and I can't even suggest that it was down to the magnitude of the moment there for Van Veen, because the second dart in particular was well thrown. It was right on the wire. But you know the outcome usually
60.
when Gerwyn Price is throwing for tops.
Gian Van Veen today has beaten Bradley Brooks,
85.
Leonard Dolan, Richie Burnett, Alan Suter, Willie O'Connor and Dave Chisnell to get to this stage. Getting some really good results against players who are in good form as well. Looking at probably Suter onwards, O'Connor and Chisnell, they're playing some good stuff at the moment.
83. $134.
Van Veen has certainly made a name for himself at the end of this
100.
season. Who knows where his career will go. But he does look like a very promising prospect. The fact that he's able to battle it out leg after leg with the world #1 in this sport suggests that we will see plenty more of him in years to come.
100.
Down to the treble 19. 18 for double top.
Game
And
shot.
that might be a killer blow to Gian Van Veen's hopes. Maybe one bridge too far, because Gerwyn Price has just taken out a magnificent 115, clutch doubling when he needed it. And now he looks like he's going to motor on. Tried for the 177. And this is what Van Veen has to cope with if he's going to make it as a top professional. That ability to bring yourself
83.
back from disappointing situations.
Both players are, in terms of standard, playing to about their average for the day.
180.
Price averaging around 100 for the day going into the final. Van Veen averaging just below 100 going into this final.
60.
But it looks like, in the first meeting with the Iceman, that
134.
that ice break, if you like, earlier on, has done the damage.
Yeah, and Van Veen is a long way behind now.
100.
Even that ton isn't going to make a big difference. An 11 darter on the cards.
Game
And the
shot.
love affair with tops continues for Gerwyn Price. He's 2 legs away. And Gian Van Veen is a spectator at the minute, because Gerwyn Price is producing some magnificent darts.
140.
Yeah, much of our conversation, quite rightly, focused on Gian Van Veen. He's new. Everybody knows plenty about Price, but I'm going to get your
96.
opinion here, Dan. Do you think this is a bit of a statement victory from Price, having been knocked out early at the European Championships last week and then taken the #1 position
100.
back by default? It's him saying, look, I am the top dog.
Yeah, I think every victory at this time of year...
39.
Oh, that's a horrible bounce out for Price. Every victory at this time of year, you'd say, is a statement victory, particularly if you can go to these finals and get the win. Got the Grand Slam coming up
100.
next week, Minehead coming up at the end of the month, and then it's the big one for Gerwyn Price, and he's defending the winner's check as well, so there's a
99.
lot at stake for Price heading into this festive period of darts.
And he's a particular master at the slam, isn't he? The Welshman.
48.
That's where it all started for him in terms of major success. That infamous
100.
final when he upset Gary Anderson to take the first title. He's never looked back.
I don't know who upset each other the most during that final. 6 of 1.
53.
Well, this would be a statement finish. Not going to happen. So a chance for Van Veen to stop the rot. Remember, this match was tied at 2-2.
Tops for Van Veen.
Shot.
Well, he's not out of this just yet. Firing his arrows in. And he's been very good on tops today.
Yeah, and that angle, camera angle, illustrated perfectly why 60 is such a nice finish for him. It is a very tricky one for most players.
Yeah, most players, when they throw the dart, it lands upwards, and it can be a blocker. Unless you're Daryl Gurney and you can perform a magic trick and get them to lay flat in the board.
60.
Well, nothing's flat about this final. Price has steamrolled through 4 straight legs before that rot stopper from Van Veen, but his level hasn't dropped an awful lot. It's just that Price has gone up a little bit. And if you are playing against the world number 1 and he needs to start to go through the gears, you're doing something right.
Yeah, the best compliment you can pay Gian Van Veen is that Gerwyn Price is having to bring, maybe not necessarily his A game, but something as close to. He's having to play some great darts, some excellent checkouts have been taken.
123.
There will be respect from Gerwyn Price towards his young opponent. I can assure you of that.
Well, he's earning the respect. And this isn't over yet. Taking this out would make it as good as. And double 12. That would have been a huge blow for Van Veen, but he comes back now looking to break Price. 78 points required to do so and really make a fist of this final.
Huge, huge moment incoming. And it's that nice 20 in tops for Van Veen again. Has to hit this. Going through the motions, just setting himself.
Game shot.
And he hits it. Brilliant dart. Again, right in the middle of the tops bed. And Van Veen with a break.
And he had to check that it was a break, I think, there. He looked back at the tablet next to our match official, Owen Binks, to check that it was indeed him throwing first in the next leg.
60.
But you have to say, after all of that routine before throwing the final dart, just showed a little indication into his mental strength there. This is a man who, when I first saw him, was struggling to let go of the darts. And as I said earlier, it was only a few months ago. So to have the maturity to take that practice swing, to not throw until he was ready and felt good, is a very, very good signal. But that 180 may just signal the beginning of the end in this final.
120.
Yeah, if the mechanics of the throw aren't working, it can quickly demoralise you. You almost get to the ock and you don't really know what you're doing with the dart in your hand. So, right, Chris, to recover from that, it's testament to his character, and to recover to the point where you're at a Players' Championship final. In the space of 3 months, a Challenge Tour, Development Tour and a Players' Championship. It's a phenomenal statistic. Gerwyn Price looking for a 12-darter.
81.
Inside the double 10, so Gian Van Veen might need to take this. Glorious first dart, and it's just below.
I just wondered, you know, it was high in the bed, wasn't it? Whether he might have thought about going down to 16s like he did earlier, whether he even thought about going for tops.
Game shot.
But it's Price who gets to 7, and that means that Van Veen must win 4 on the spin, or it will be another PDC title for the Iceman Price, denying GVV victory in his first final.
140.
And it's an accomplished start to this potentially match-winning leg for Price. 8-4 was the margin of victory against Manos Razma in Niederhausen. Looking to try and repeat history. 180 surely coming.
140.
Not on that occasion.
Well, he'll settle for that. I think he knows the outcome now.
60.
It would be his 13th PDC ranking title.
57.
To go with the big ones on the TV and European Tour.
60.
Could do it in style, but I wouldn't expect him to go for this.
Does he fancy it? Oh, it's not going to go now.
92.
Just to clarify, 13th Players' Championship final. We go in price.
100.
And it looks like it's time to seal it. Double 12.
Game
and
shot
Price
on the match.
picks up
Gerwyn Price.
another victory. But Gian van Veen may well be the story of today. The Dutchman in just his 8th PDC Pro Tour tournament, making it through to the final and making a late bid to book his place at the Players' Championship finals. He'll need to do a little bit tomorrow to do that. But the title goes the way of Price. 13 on the Players' Championship circuit now. He's 2nd of 2022. And after returning to the world #1 spot last week, kind of by default, he's made a statement and reminded us all that he is the #1 in the world of darts. Price defeats Van Veen, and let's hear from him now with Dan.
Gerwyn Price, our winner in the penultimate Players' Championship event of the year. Gezi, after you got through Steve West in the first round, which was a bit touch and go, nobody could touch you today at all, could they?
Yeah, I slipped up a few times against Steve and let him come back in the game. I think I went 3-0 up and, yeah, 5-all. He left a shot at a double and I took out 97, but, you know, you need a little bit of luck in games and, yeah, I certainly had it in that one, but, you know, I wanted to beat Roby. That was the big game for me. Beating me in the Europeans, having missed loads of doubles. And I've done the same against him when I played him on this board. But yeah, thankfully I come through that game and yeah, went on and won. But I've played brilliant in some games, but other games just average.
Well, you've averaged over a ton for the whole day, 102 average. A word for Gian, that's only his 8th senior event in the PDC. He's averaged pretty much a ton for the day as well. It's scary the amount of talent that's out there, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. But people don't realise, you know, when I first started coming to these events and, you know, 2 years down the line, people were saying, are you losing to him? He's a nobody, but there is no nobodies on this tournament. You know, anybody can beat anybody on any given day, and you know, if you're off by 5-10%, then you're gone. And yeah, he's a fantastic player, and I'm sure he'll get to many more finals. But yeah, thankfully I won this one today. 5
titles for you now this year. You picked up the World Series finals recently, obviously, and then this one. Good signs going into the back end of the year. I know you love the Grand Slam of darts, and obviously the World Championships one you'll have your eye on, but the Players' Championship finals as well is another big title there for the taking.
Yeah, exactly. I've got to the final of that and lost against Michael. I've a couple of times in Butlins, Players' Championship finals and UK Open, but this one of the titles I haven't got in the bag yet, so I'm targeted now, and obviously Grand Slam, good memories there, but yeah, the big one at the end of the year is one I always on that one.
Also, this is the first Players' Championship title you've won this year without a broken hand, so yeah, that's a new one.
I've probably, out of the 30, I've probably played in about 5 or 6 of them. So yeah, I had to kick myself up the backside, get myself back up the rankings in these events, because you know, if you're not in the top 16 of the Pro Tour, then you've got to qualify for Europeans. So the last 2 weekends of Pro Tours, I've sort of give myself a kick up the backside, made myself come to these. And yeah, I wanted to win this because I wanted to go and watch Wales play tomorrow, but I think I'm going to come and play again, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's a really tactful answer.
You know, honestly, I needed to do well to stay in the top 16 ready for next year. I said to the missus, if I win today, we'll go home, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, all right. Well, make the most of seeing Gerwyn Price today, because chances are he's not going to be here tomorrow. However, it must feel like everything's coming together, because I know at times this year there's been things that get in the way, whether it's the schedule, whether it's when you bust your hand. But now it feels like everything is all set up for this final push at the end of the year, right?
Yeah, I'm feeling confident again, whereas, you know, maybe 5-6 months ago, you know, my daughter would have beat me in the kitchen. That's how poor my confidence was. And you know, this game is all about confidence. If you can't come onto a board and think you're gonna win every single time, then it's pointless turning up. So yeah, it was a tough 6 months for me, but the back end of the year now is coming thick and fast, and the form is coming back. and I'm looking forward to the rest of the tournament.
Do you get any confidence from seeing your name next to the #1 spot as you've just shot back up there over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to be world #1, but I've been world #1 3 times now this year. So it's good, but like I said, there's not much difference between me and Peter. And if I don't go and win the worlds, then I drop down maybe #3, #4. But that's not a be all and end all. As long as I'm playing well, picking up some money, and feeding the family, that's all that matters to me.
You're one of the very biggest names. Obviously, you're world #1. You've won the title here today. We've just seen Ross Smith, he was number 28 in the world, go and win a major title at the European Championship. Again, with Gian in the final, it kind of underlines that the world of darts right now, we're going into every single tournament, and it could be one of dozens and dozens of players, not who could just pick up a win or take a big scalp, could actually be the top dog at the end of the tournament, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, doesn't matter who you are, how well you've done in the past, because I don't think anybody cares anymore. It doesn't matter. Years ago, I think you'd be wary of the likes of Michael, Gary, Phil Taylor when he was still around, but nobody cares anymore. They just turn up, they play darts. If they're good enough on a day, they'll win, and I think that's what Ross did. He played fantastic all through that European, and then turn up today and play Peter Wright first round, and bye-bye. But that's the way darts goes, and yeah, it's a ruthless old game, especially in the PDC. is a tough school, and if you're not 100%, then you're going to be packing. And yeah, Ross came off the back of a good win and then draws Peter Wright, so it's a tough school.